emodels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Okay, here we are. Here's the business end. Here's the propellers. Now I've gone for a 3-bladed central propeller. I know there's a lot of discussion everywhere about whether Titanic had a 3 or a 4-bladed propeller. In fact, the kit itself provides the alternative 4-blade propeller, but I believe there's a 99% chance that the vessel that is often pictured with a 4-blade propeller is her sister, Britannic or Olympic, and Titanic was in fact fitted with a 3-blade propeller, so I've gone for that. Now then, these are the propellers out of the box, and all I've done with them is applied some true metal, because they start life like this with a black primer coat, and then all we need to do is apply the bare metal. Here it is, propeller number 3. We're going to make this propeller match the other two, a nice and shiny propeller. A word on that is that when you come to cut these propellers off the sprue, don't get them mixed up. Because they're different. They might look the same, but if you look at the set of the blades, they are set differently. It's because on a twin-bladed ship, on a twin propeller ship, the propellers turn outwards, so the blades are set so that it would dig in the water and pull itself along like that. That's a simple explanation anyway, but the best thing to do is when you take them off and put them on a little cocktail stick like this to paint, just mark them so that you don't mix them up. Anyway, on with that. So what we're going to do this, we're going to use a product called True Metal, not bare metal, True Metal. I have a couple of these. I've got all bronze and I've got brass. Brass is going to be quite nice if you want to do your propellers in brass. Showcase models, desktop models, builders models, everything like that. The propellers usually come in brass and they're nice and shiny, and I've also got steel, which isn't really what we want, but I'm not going to use brass. I'll use all bronze because it's a little bit darker. It's still shiny, but it doesn't give that brassy shine. It gives it a look of like a phosphor bronze, which is probably what propellers would be made of anyway. And how do we apply this? Well, as you see, got some gloves on because it can be quite messy. All we need is a cocktail, a baby bud, a cotton bud, and this product is like a bit of a wax. So all we do is we just slap it on. It's dead easy to do, doesn't take long at all. Really good product, and a lot of it, a little bit of it goes a long way, I should say. So slap it on, get it all over. You can do it with, you don't have to use a cotton bud, you can use a paintbrush or even your finger. If you watched my U-boat video, you'll see that I used this a lot, especially when I was doing the torpedoes and things, and it comes out really well. It can be overcoated with a clear coat, which I'll be doing when it's all together. I'll give the whole thing a clear coat because it does wear off. If you handle it a lot, it wears off. So it doesn't take long to do this. Plenty on. So just remember, oops, plenty there. True Metal, that's the stuff. So we can use that from there now, not to waste it. Spread it about, not too thick but not too thin, but do prime or undercoat the parts that you want to do with this stuff. Prime them in black because it works better with black. Okay, we'll just take the excess of that off. There, that's done. Just done. Make sure you've got all the edges in, and then just leave it for a few minutes. Just sit and twiddle, spin it, yeah, spin it for a bit, just go round and round. Right, after about 15 minutes, by the time you've cleaned up the mess, we can move on to the next stage, the finishing part of it. And what you need for this is maybe a soft rag or a bit of tissue, something like that, and you can see how messy it gets, so that's why you need to wear gloves. And then all we do is just polish it. Really easy, just polish it until you get a shine on it. If you happen to rub too much off, just put some more back on. Just lightly polish, don't rub too hard, because all we're doing is just smoothing the wax out. It's like a wax, so we're just smoothing the wax out and adding a bit of shine to it. And it really is as simple as that. I'll just give this a little bit more shine, but you can already see from the difference it was a few moments ago. You can see it shining in the light there. It just gives it that nice antique bronzy type shine. But that's it. That's as easy as that for the propellers. So you don't need to paint or anything like that. Some true metal. That's the stuff. AK, yeah, AK Interactive True Metal. Right, propeller's done. So one of the things that you'll find when you open the box to the Titanic, there is masses and masses of photo etch. Lots of it, all shiny and sparkly like this, and like this, like these. Yeah, there's lots of it. There's far more of it over there as well. I'll just get these out of the way because they interfere with the white balance and things. Yeah, it's all there. It's photo etch. It makes up the finer detail of the kit. Some of the real fine window frames and things. We're going to look at the window frames in a moment actually. Here's some. They're all on the fret. Lots and lots of window frames. I've been doing some already, and it is a bit of a tedious job, but it's something that you can just settle down to, put some music on in the background, and then just work away. A nice easy way to do it is just to mark off as you go along what you've done, what you haven't done, so that when you go away for your tea or your dinner or a cup of tea or a drink or a lie down in a dark room, you can come back and you can work out where you're up to. Another thing I found a lot easier than actually sticking these tiny window frames in with super glue was to use this. This is by Deluxe Materials. You can get it from E-Models. It's glue and glaze. It's actually for making windows, for making the representation on aircraft. Sort of, you can put it in the corner and drag it along, and it leaves a thin film for making it windows. And it's also for bonding canopies to the plastic. So if you're building an aircraft, you can bond your plastic with this, and the canopy won't fog if you're using super glue or something like that. And it's really good, especially this, because it's got an ultra fine tip, so we can really get in and glue these windows in. I'm going to show you how to do that. I've already done some, and they do look quite nice. They really set it off, rather than just having the sort of openings, but they really are quite fine. And it's a nice thing to do. So right, so what I'll do, we'll go get prepared, and we'll get on with gluing some of these in. Right, so what do we need? Right, well, obviously we're going to need the part that we're going to attach the photo etch to. We're going to need the photo etch. Each part of the photo etch is numbered. You probably can't see them on the camera, but the frets themselves are numbered right in the bottom. This is labelled as fret D, so I need D44, 42, 43, 44. Now then, as you see here, there's some gaps. They've already been used, but not to worry, because there are quite a number of letter D frets, so we just need to find the one where there's still some windows on it. There they are, they'll do. That's it. If you think you've run out of windows as you're going along, it just means there's another fret somewhere. You probably got it in the box or something. And so we'll need D44. How many of those will we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 3 there. Have a look through the other frets. There's 3 more. That's 6. We want a D30. So this should be on here as well. 30. There we are. Down at this end. I'll try and keep the frets out of shot a little bit, just because it's messes with the white balance and things. Also, what we'll need is I cut my frets with a piece of acrylic. You can see here it's a bit scratched and things like that, but I use the acrylic. It's just a bit firmer than cutting on your cutting mat, and also a chisel edged scalpel blade. Just I just keep this just for slicing out photo etch. So what we need 6 of these, so I'll cut one. I'll do a couple, and then I'll carry on and do the rest. So we just need to put this on here, and as close as you can to the part. If I try to see past the camera, just as close as you can to the part, is just slice it off. That's one. The closer you can slice it off the fret, the less cleanup you have to do. So there's one, and some tweezers sometimes come in handy too. Some fine tweezers. Now you'll probably find that if you look really closely, try and keep it focused. If you can look really closely, you can see in the window frame there is a recess for this window to sit on. Now then, hopefully the glue's working and hasn't gone hard in the tube. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll take the glue and just apply the glue to the frame. We don't need to flood it, we just need to touch, a little touch in the corners, because we can then just clean the end and just drag. I'm not squeezing, I'm not applying any glue, I'm just using the point to drag the glue around. You can also use your toothpick if you want to do it that way. Now this glue dries clear, so don't worry too much about that. And then we can take the window, pick it up with the tweezers, try not to drop it too much, and just pop it in, and it will. I've found that each of these windows has gone in with like a, not so much a click, but it will sit inside the recess. So that's why you need to make sure that you're actually cutting off any excess, and you're cutting it off nice and smooth. It's gone in. There we are, there's that one. Let's do another one. Find the right sprue again. Find a sprue. I keep calling it sprue, it's a fret. Once again, the brass makes a mess with the white balance. If you don't have a piece of acrylic, something like an old ceramic tile does the trick as well. Concentration as I cut this off. There we go. I'm trying to leave the plastic on the fret as much as possible. It saves any sort of losses, anything getting broken or anything like that. But it will all come off eventually. So that's nice and clean. We'll just have a final look at it. So yep, nice and clean. Once again, go over to the glue and glaze. Just a touch. It's really much easier doing it with this than trying to get some super glue in. If you're using super glue, remember to try and use a fresh bottle. It does go off if it's left on the shelf. You can store it in the fridge to extend its shelf life, but eventually it does go off, and you'll find that the super glue isn't super anymore. It's just non-sticky. It doesn't seem to want to stick anything apart from your fingers. Yeah, you'll find that, as I said, they will push in. They are, or have been up to now, quite a tight fit in the window frames. So that's, oh, I just pulled it out. Oh. Let's try again. I promise you, they do stick. Because I had glue on my thumb, it pulled it out again. There we are, sorted. Oh yeah, that's two of the window frames done. You'll need to do all of them on this deck. So I'm working on this one, and down here is some of the deck planking to do. We can paint that, and I'll show you shortly how we can make the deck planking a little bit more realistic by putting some caulking between the planks rather than them just being sort of look as though they're pressed into the plastic. But in the meantime, I'll go and carry on with the photo etch window frames for this deck at least, and I'll be back shortly. And right, I'm just putting my airbrush back together here after a really thorough clean, because I've been spraying white paint for the sides of the superstructure, the cabins and such like that, as you can see here. White paint, yes, not the best of paints to to paint with. Goes along with orange, also a difficult colour. It's just because of the pigments in the actual paint itself. It's really difficult to get a really smooth coat of white, but all you need to do is some really thin coats, let it dry, and then go on from there. I've used as a primer the Ultimate white primer. A tip for you: if you want to see where you've gone with the white primer, and before you overcoat it with the top coat white, add a tiny touch of something like red. It'll just give it a tint, not a lot. You just need like one drop on the end of your paintbrush. Just dip it in, and then you can tint the white. It won't make any difference to the to the primer, but when you come to put the top coat on, you'll see where the primer is and where the white top coat goes. For the top coat, I've used Mr. Hobby. Yes, it's a lacquer paint and it stinks. If you're using the Mr. Colour lacquer, use the Mr. Colour thinners as well, because this won't mix with water or alcohol or other things like that. It will make a mess, and then clean your airbrush thoroughly after it. That's if you value your airbrush. So that's Mr. Hobby, Mr. Colour, I keep confusing them. Mr. Colour from Mr. Hobby, number 62, flat white, from E-Models obviously. I've done them. The deck that you saw me with just a short time ago, putting the cabins in, I've put all them together, and that's just in the process of drying. Then I'm going to spray the decks like I spoke about. And now what we will do, I've sprayed the forward deck and the poop deck, so we can go along and have a look at them, and I can explain how I'm going to sort of put the caulking in between the lines on the imprinted deck. So that's really, yeah, that's the white paint out of the way. These parts here do break, they are in two sections. It might be an idea to spray them first, then glue them together, because they are too big to go in my spray booth, and it just makes the whole house stink. So right, we'll go get that the decks, and we'll have a look at them. I'm doing some lines within the deck. So okay. And here's a section that you saw before on the plans. As you can see, I've now finished gluing all the window frames in, and I've also glued the bulkheads to the deck. This is deck Q1, I think it was in the plan. And then I masked it all off. I sprayed the white as we'd because the airbrush was full of white spray paint. I sprayed the bulkheads as well, and also the interior of the decks. Not that you're going to really be seeing them, but just to give it a colour, so that if you look through the windows, the portholes, you won't see bare plastic. So this is just white. This is just white primer. One of the two staircases, either the I don't know which of these is the famous grand staircase. Once again, there are aftermarket plans, parts available to super detail all this, but we're not going to do that. And also, as you know, there's parts available for wooden decking as well, but we're just going to build this straight out the box to show what a great model you can actually make without spending all the extra on the model. So that's the deck. We'll put that to one side, and we'll have a look at doing the caulking on the other parts of the decks that I I've prepared earlier. This is the poop deck, the aft part of the deck itself. Sorry, the aft part of the boat itself, the aft deck. This is in its natural state. It has been painted with wooden deck tan XF78, which I find is a really useful. It's a nice deck colour. It's a bit of a sand type colour, but yeah, to me, obviously, wooden deck tan XF78, so that's that one. What we do with these is give this, before we do any work on the deck, we give these a coat of gloss varnish. That's going to help with the next stage of highlighting the caulking between the deck planks, and it should leave us with an effect similar to this. You can see the difference in the two. It's really easy to do. It's just like simple weathering, just a pin wash, but we'll have a look at that. And all we're going to use for that is just some oil paint and some odorless thinners, and a small fine brush if I can find one. Right, I'll go get things ready, mix up some oils, and we'll see if we can get some caulking done on this bit. All right, I'll go get that. Where's it at? What are we going to do? And so as we come back to it, well, we're now beginning the caulking between the planks. It just gives it a nice finish, as opposed to just the imprinted look on the decks. And as you know, it's just like doing a panel wash. I'm sure I don't have to tell you how to make a panel wash, a panel line wash. It's just a oil paint, and as you saw before, the odorless thinners. And what we're looking to do is produce a coloured thinner rather than a thinned colour, and this will actually take us quite a long time to do because there's lots of deck. But once again, it's all what our hobby is all about, just taking our time and enjoying the build. Oh, yeah. So that's it. That is the secret, no secret really, of doing some panel line washes and reproducing the caulking. What we're going to do with this is we'll do it all. You could do it in sections, because by the time you've done one section, the first section will be ready for drying and clearing up. I'll leave it for about 30 minutes just to let the carrier flash off, the odorless thinners flash off, and then we can clean up. Clean it up with some cotton buds, but you all know the secret to this, of applying a panel line wash. But yeah, it's a big model. It's going to take us a long time to do, but the effect in the end is going to be worth it. And this does actually make a difference. Where's the other part gone? Yeah, you can already see in there how much of a difference it does make, and really easy to do. Just take your time to do it, and yep, you can't go too wrong. So what we're going to do now, we'll finish the video here because we're about ready now to do some assembly work. This has all really been about getting everything ready to assemble, but once we've done this on all the decks, we can start with the assembly of the decks and the bulkheads, and building up from the hull upwards. We'll look in the next video at putting lighting in the hull, just a simple lighting effect in the hull, nothing too complicated. It's extra to the kit itself. As you know, the hull's not lit up. That's why we drilled all the portholes out in the first place. And once we've done the lighting in the hull, we can begin to seal it up and build upwards, because I have discovered that there is actually no access into the hull once it's built. Oh dear, I thought I was going to be able to take it apart and transport it and things. You might notice that some of the colours are darker than others. It doesn't matter. It adds to it. It doesn't matter at all. You can clean it all off. But anyway, while I carry on with this, I'll do a final shot of it all done, and we'll see you for the next part of the video. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and keep up with the notifications by clicking on the notification bell, and you'll know whenever we put a new video out. So thanks for watching. Okay, bye now.